Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ellyiot. So today I'm just going to give you some quick tips with some AUv3 FX plugins that I like to use, as well as Nanostudio 2's built-in effects that I like to use for sound design and just creating cool sounds and improving your mix in general. So without wasting any more time, let's just get right into it. For this video, everything will be demonstrated within Nanostudio 2 on the iPad. Keep in mind that the AUv3 FX plugins shown in this video can be used with many other music making apps on the iOS platform. So let's play a quick snippet of the track I made within Nanostudio 2. Making music is fun, but using the right tools can really make your music stand out. For this video, I am going to show you what I added to my main chord progression. I used a synth called Pads by Klevgr, and also used a variety of FX plugins to enhance the mix, but to also give it a unique sound. First, let's hear the chord progression with all the effects turned off. Now let's hear it with all the effects turned on. As you can hear, the difference is pretty big, but the process is fairly simple. So let's go ahead and break this thing down. The first thing I added is the built-in compressor within Nanostudio 2. I also have the same compressor creating a sidechain pumping effect with my kick drum. The next thing I added is DAW Cassette by Klevgr. This effects is definitely one of my go-to effects if I want that vintage tape effect sound. All of the different parameters give you a different texture. You can even add a little bit of tape hiss. But this knob right here is my favorite one to play around with. It gives you that old, wobbly tape effect sound, and I add it on almost all of my tracks. Next, I added the multi-effects within Nanostudio 2. I selected the chorus effects and adjusted some of the parameters to give it a thicker and more full sound. Using a chorus effects is usually good for that purpose. It could sound good on synths, guitars, and Rhodes. But don't let that limit you because it could sound good on a lot of different things. After that, I added AUv3, which is a reverb effect within Nanostudio 2. Out of the 4 different algorithms, I selected large room and made some minor tweaks. Reverb is good to add if you want to give your synth or instrument more room or space. If something is sounding a little dull or dry, adding a little reverb will do the trick. But be sure to add the right amount, because adding too much might make things sound unnatural. And in this particular case, you might not hear the difference at all, but sometimes little things like this make all the difference. Up next is the RX950 by Inphonik. In case you don't know, the RX950 is basically an emulation of the Akai S950. This effects gives you that 12-bit warm, vintage, and crunchiness resolution that sounds good on almost everything. Now the reason why I added it is to make the synth not sound so bright. So I brought back the audio bandwidth and filter parameter to give it a more muffled and filtered sound. The last thing on the effects chain is the EQ3B. I talked about this effects in my previous video, so if you haven't already, you can check it out with the link above or in the description box. I added the EQ3B to cut some of the lows and mids so that it sits in the mix well, and it doesn't interfere with the more prominent lower frequencies that I want to stand out, like the bass and kick drum. Alright, so for the last time, let's hear the difference between the two, with and without the effects. Now let's wrap this up by playing the track one more time, and please, don't forget to dance. Alright, so I hope you guys found that helpful. Keep in mind that you don't have to use these exact set of FX plugins as I did in this video. This is just to inspire you or to give you some ideas when you're creating some music. So I highly encourage you to just experiment, go crazy with it, and to try out a bunch of different things when you're trying to create cool sounds using different FX plugins. Because pretty much at the end of the day, we all have access to the exact same sounds. So what's going to separate you from other producers is you be willing to go that extra mile and put in that extra work to create and cultivate your own sound so that your sound does not sound like anybody else's. And it's literally just as simple as that, combining certain FX plugins with other FX plugins and just seeing what sounds good and what doesn't sound good. And as I said before, just go crazy with it. Experiment, try out some shit you never tried before. Keep an open mind and just see what kind of cool shit you can come up with. Alright y'all, thanks for watching. Until the next one. Peace.